Hi there, welcome to the Real Japa Experience. I am your host, Joanna. On this podcast, we will explore the realities of Nigerian students in the UK. And when I say we will explore the realities, I mean we're going to be very real and very true on this podcast. There will be no lies told. It's going to be told as it is because people need to know. The purpose of this podcast is not to scare you or tell you, oh, don't come to the UK. No. The purpose of this podcast is to help you make informed decisions on moving to the UK, on migrating to the UK, whether to study or whatever you're coming from. We always get told, oh, life is better in the UK, you have more opportunities. Okay, yes, but what are the disadvantages? What are the things that people go through? That's what we're going to be talking about on this podcast. So join me every week to hear myself and other Nigerian students share our unique stories on the realities of being a Nigerian student in the UK. Thanks for tuning in and spending the time with me today. Let's dive into today's episode. On today's episode, we'll discuss how the political economic decisions made back home in Nigeria affect students abroad. When Naira is devalued, how does it affect Nigerian students in the UK? When President Tinubu became president last year in 2023, he unified multiple exchange rates, and because of that, the value of Naira fell, in the sense that it led to about more than 60% increase in tuition fees for students in the UK. The rise in the exchange rate has put more pressure on many Nigerians that are schooling in the UK and other nations abroad. And that has affected a lot of people. Many people have gotten scammed online by, black market sellers. And other people like myself have had to turn to crowdfunding using GoFundMe to publicly ask people for help. So, on today's episode, we will discuss financial struggles that we face as international students. And I say we because I have with me today a guest. Her name is Lola. Lola is an international student from Nigeria studying in the UK. Our stories are quite similar because we've both had to turn to GoFundMe as a source of raising our tuition, especially because we are both in our final year. Lola is in her final year for her master's. I am in my final year for my bachelor's degree. Let's get into today's episode. I feel like today's episode is going to be so in-depth, and you guys are going to be hearing a lot of things that maybe you've heard before, but not in this way. Stay tuned with us today. Thank you. Hi, Lola.
Hello.
Welcome
How
to the
you
Real
doing?
Japa Experience.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for joining. How are you doing today?
I'm very okay. And you?
I'm very well, thank you. So let's get into it. So Lola, tell me, when did you move to the UK?
Okay, I moved into the UK in October 2022.
Oh, so not so long
And
ago.
yes, it's been 1 year and few months.
Yeah, makes sense. So you came to study, correct?
Yeah, that's why I'm in the UK. I came to study.
Okay.
And I'm currently studying at the University of Essex. I'm studying Masters in Social Work.
Okay.
And I'm in my second year. Yes.
Oh, yeah. I did find it a little strange that your masters was for 2 years, because usually it's 1 year, isn't it?
Yeah, for social work, it's usually 2 years because we are required to undergo 2 placements. So in our first year, we do 70-day placement along with our TOS work. And then in our second year, we do 100-day placement. So this is like a standard for social work because this is the period where you get the experience, actual experience
Oh,
to then qualify as a student worker. And
okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. Because even I, as a media and communication student, I have to do placements every year. So, Lola, let's talk about the financial side of things when you moved to the UK. I know that currently you're doing a GoFundMe campaign, like myself as well, to raise your tuition for your final year and your final semesters, isn't it?
yes.
Yeah. So at the beginning, so trace your memory back to 2022 when you started your journey in the UK. Were there like slight signs of a financial difficulty at the beginning? Was this something that you thought of that could happen? Did you even imagine it?
Um, Honestly, if I saw this, if there was some way I could, rewind the future and look at the reality of what's going to happen in 2 years, I would probably not have continued this journey. So
Mm,
at first, the year I started applying for school, at that time there was Form A. Because initially when I had it in mind that, oh, I want to come to the UK, and I
yeah.
started researching, asking people that studied and things like that. So I got to know that, oh, in Nigeria we can pay our tuition through the CBN website. So that's what they call
Yes.
Form A for those that are not familiar with it. And then with
Mm-hmm.
that website, you get to pay it with the actual bank rate. So at that time, the bank rate was ranging from 460 to 520, and black market was maybe 700 to 800 or a little bit more. I cannot remember. But
Yeah.
with 500, 400 to 500, it was very realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that the good part was that UK universities offer flexibility for you to
Yeah.
pay in semesters. And
Mm-hmm.
even if I had wanted to pay in bulk, and a lot of most times the bank is really difficult for them to accept you paying your tuition once. So it's better you apply
Mm,
for multiple, from A, and then wait for the waiting period to get processed. So at the
yeah.
initial stage, I've had few questions like with my ongoing fundraising about, oh, didn't you plan? Where's your proof of fund that
Mm,
it's deceived deceived the home office to believe I had my money and did
yeah.
not. But the reality was my first year I had this money in my accounts, and
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, the bank rates, right, which was very, very
Yeah.
impossible to pay that way. And with how very unstable the Nigerian government economy has been, so even at the
Yeah.
time of me moving here, and you know, the proof of fund covers both tuition and living
Living
expenses.
expenses. Yeah.
So,
Mm,
but it wasn't accessible.
okay.
So a lot of people, it was almost like unaccessible. When I contacted the bank, and bank manager, they were like, no, we'll just forget about this. You cannot get
Mm-hmm.
this money. There's like a long waiting list and it takes forever.
Oh
So
wow.
yes, and at that time I needed to I got my visa in October and I needed to move like literally in 5 days. But prior
Oh.
to that, I'd already started preparing with the faith of, oh, I was going to get my visa anyway because I know I've done all the right
Mm,
things and, it's going to come out. It's just that my preparation after I get the visa, I might not have a lot of time. So I needed to move either way. And before then, I'd, paid a little bit of deposit for my accommodation to secure my new accommodation. So I still
yeah.
needed to change my money. I'm just trying to give all this, breakdown so people understand. So I still needed to
Mm-hmm.
change my money at that moment. So I had to opt for changing the money with, the black
Black
market.
market rates.
Yes, and that's reduced the actual, total of my proof of fund that I had.
Yeah.
But regardless, it was still very much okay,
Enough. Yeah.
and I continued that way. My first year, I paid my first semester before I came. Then the second semester, I submitted my from A application in December.
Yeah.
It took
Mm-hmm.
almost 3 months before they even accepted it, and I paid my second
Semester.
semester, and then even my third. It took like it's the from A delay because I applied for it again in April. It took up until September before the final one went through. That was how crazy it
Mm-hmm.
was. And at
Wow.
that time, rate has started, rate has gone way,
Increasing.
yes, has already increased. So I even had to add extra money to the initial money I had to even pay my last semester in my
Mm,
first year.
first
So
term, yeah.
yes. So before the end of my first semester, sorry, before the end of my first year, I was still making plans towards my second year. So now when the exchange rates increased, I had to, some of the money that we're opening, oh, we're going to use it towards my second year.
Mm,
So I had to use that money now to like complete and
for
pay
first
my,
year.
yes, for my third semester. And
Mm,
I still tried again because at that time the exchange rate was still manageable. It was still like 1,200, 1,000. It was still manageable. And I tried again to apply for my first semester, second year, because in comparison with the black market and the bank rates was way better,
mm.
but it didn't go through. It didn't go through, and that's when the whole challenge started,
Challenge
basically.
started. Wow. Yeah. So basically you started with Form A, and I remember at that time as well, I didn't use Form A. My story was a little bit different. So I was already in university in Nigeria for my bachelor's, and I was doing
Okay.
fine. But then 2020, I lost my dad. So after I lost my dad, someone in the family, say an extended family member basically, or rather a family friend, was like, okay, let me help your mom with the burden and then sponsor you to the UK. I never thought of any financial difficulty because since I was a child, up to growing up to be 17 at that time, I always knew this person as a very rich person that never had difficulty with money. Do you get? So
Mm-hmm.
he sponsored me to the UK. I came to the UK first year. Well, I had foundation year and then started my first year in 2021. Things were, moving okay. And then I think it was about the middle of 2022 exchange rates started going up. I believe that was about the time where people now started using Form A more. That was why you had the issue of a long awaiting list.
Yeah.
Do you see how the stories are linking up now? So that was
Yeah.
why there was more of an awaiting list for Form A. For me, from my sponsor, Form A wasn't really an option. I just paid through bank transfer anyways. And then fast forward to the ending of 2022, things were getting a bit tight. It was okay, let's use our faith, let's keep pushing. It's still coming bit by bit. 2023 was a whole different story. 2023 was when everything went downhill. Tinubu became president. Pound was like 1,500 to 2,000 naira to a pound.
Yeah.
It was just a net. So at that stage in 2023, how were things for you? What stage were you at with the Form A? Was Form A still working? Because I remember it was at that point they said there's no more Form A. Nigerian students should stop
Yeah.
relying on Form A. It wasn't going to work. So that was the stage you were at.
Yeah, that was the state I was. So the explanation of my second semester and third
Mm-hmm.
semester of Form A was last year, 2023. Uh,
2023, okay.
yes, so I paid my first semester in 2022 before I came. So the whole 2022, I didn't have that challenge of tuition and all of that. It was just 3 months before the year ended. So
Yeah,
yes, but in 2022 December was when I did my second semester application for Form A, and
for
then it
me.
delayed till I can't remember what month, the next year in 2023. So that one went through after continuous pursuit of the bank, my bank manager. It was crazy. And then I, even at that time when I knew that, the second one was still delayed, I applied again for my second for my third semester just in case.
Yeah.
It didn't go through. I had to open a new one again. And that's one I was lucky with my third semester payments because at that time a lot of people could not even access it. There was a long awaiting list. It was
Mm-hmm.
just crazy. And I just thought to myself, okay, let me choose a bank that was not in Lagos. Let me just choose like use UBA because I was using Zenith Bank
Okay.
all this while. So I switched from Zenith and to UBA. I said, okay, let me just attempt it. Let me use UBA, some random. I just looked through the list of branches, so random branch in Abuja. Yeah. So I picked the
Yeah.
branch with the hope that okay, let's see how it goes in 1 month. And few days after submission, they attempted it. So at
Oh
that time,
wow.
at that time, I'd not like complete added more money to it. I just, like I said, I was just like, okay, let me just put this from there. So when it went through, I was like, wait, this is less than 1 week, and it went
Mm.
through. So so the next week, immediately I,
You try
took
for
my
another one.
money. I took my money, I applied for another one, and then boom, it went through. I
Oh
think it took
wow.
almost 2 weeks, and that was how lucky I was. So with that,
Mhm.
how fast it went, I was like, okay, let me even quickly pay for my
Uh,
second year. Because like I said,
mm,
there's a limitation to how much you can go at a time. So you don't want to put so much money at the same time, because the bank will not even accept it, because most times they don't have access to these FX as much as you think they do. So
yeah.
I paid that 5,080 or so for my last semester. And when that one went through again, I was like, okay, fine, let me try and for my second, and then tomorrow institution they are still pending, and it
Hmm.
did not go through.
Now, how did your school communicate this financial difficulty with you? Did they do like emails, or did you have an opportunity to have like a sit down, even if it was a Teams or a Zoom call with them to talk about options that are available to you?
Okay. So last year, when Tinubu, our president, I think was sworn in May,
May.
and
Yeah.
then the very first week he's like parallel market rates, which
Mm-hmm.
implied that from a bank rate and black market was going to now be literally
March.
bank market was now going to be black market. So there was
Yeah.
no from A anymore, and the FX then went down the drain, and the currency started to devalue. So when this started happening, I kind of like foresaw the future, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought to myself, you know what? I think I need to reach out to the university and let
Yeah.
them know that this is happening in my country. Like, this is a development, and if there's a way they can help us. Now, for my second year, it's not entirely like a 1 year, it's more like 9 months. But I'm still
Mm-hmm.
required to pay a full year tuition,
Yeah.
which does not make sense.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And and then in my first year, the second semester, I spent my second semester home, literally from
Why? Why is
January
that?
to April. I was supposed to be on placements. My school did not provide placements. They did not communicate to let me know, oh, we are working on anything. But just most of my classmates were just home, sitting
Oh
down,
wow.
waiting for whenever they decide to give us placement. So now before
Wait,
I go
hold
back,
on a moment now. Is the school when you started your education? Sorry to interrupt you, but I want to understand what you said at that point about placement. So was it that they made it clear from the beginning the university would provide placement, or you were told to, search for placements, apply, and start doing placements yourself?
they said the university would provide placements.
Oh
I
wow.
remember there was a university when I was applying for the same course. They made it very clear and education that you would have to provide your own placement. But with this
Mm-hmm.
one, they were specific. Even when I started in October, they told us that okay, we're all not going to start placement at the same time, which was, everyone was, most of my classmates are in different cities and, different locations, and they want different
Mm,
preferences to what kind of placement they wanted. So that made sense. But you don't, that shouldn't mean that some people will start January and I have to stay home for 4 months. You know how,
yeah.
like, this is my first experience. I'm moving to a different country for education, and then I'm stuck home. I expected to pay tuition. I was
Mm-hmm.
still getting repeated emails because like I said, I was waiting for my Form A to go through, and I was
Yeah.
getting repeated emails of, reminders, 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 reminders.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, they were a little bit chill. They were not threatening with withdrawal as they are now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it was more like just reminders. But still, it was unfair. I had the
Mm-hmm.
money.
Definitely.
Yeah, I had the money. I'm just waiting for my Form A to go through. But what is your role of giving me placement? Why am I still home? Now they did not even
Yeah.
provide. They didn't provide this placement. They did not communicate until I and some other students wrote to the dean and told them
Hmm.
how unfair and how this is did stressing our mental health and stressing us as a
Yeah.
student. And and then they had a meeting with us. So it was before this meeting they I don't even know how to say this. Like, we had a meeting, let's say on a Wednesday. right?
Mm-hmm.
Or let's say 20th of this month, right? On a
Yeah.
Wednesday or whatever. And then we wrote them this email. And before that 20th, they found a placement for us miraculously.
So they could find it quickly and they were just wasting time.
Thank you. So miraculously, 2 days or 3 days to that meeting, they've given us placement. This is what they could not do for 4 months. So what they wanted to,
Wow.
yes, so they knew what they were doing. So it was more like, oh, when we come for this meeting, we will not be coming with, oh, we've not found placement. Because in that email, we made it very specific that we feel it's very unfair. We're paying for a service we're not receiving. And
Yeah, you're not getting your money
yes.
worth.
And we would like to discuss how we would get some refund back or some kind of a discount or something.
Of
So they,
course.
yeah, so they knew what they were doing. Now on this meeting, they apologized, and we're like, okay, fine, that's fine. We have placement now, which was virtual. Why would I be?
Wow.
Why
So
would? Why
they
should I?
basically shut you guys up.
Yes, so the
Hmm.
virtual placements. That was not the agreement. Why do I have to
Wow.
do a virtual placement for social work that I need hands-on physical experience to get? And that
Mm.
was completely okay. Like everybody experiences depending on what you do, your experience. It could be virtual, it could be physical, but whatever you do with it afterwards would be an individual. So your learning experience would be different, which was fine. And
Yeah.
I couldn't wait more because
Mm-hmm.
debating about virtual school was going to be my time. So we had this meeting and I spoke about how we needed some kind of financial support or this kind of. They said, "Oh no, we cannot do that." And the university have like a budget. As if they have to give a refund for every student that have their placement delayed. That means those in occupational now studying occupational therapies, nursing students, that those ones too are also waiting for placements.
Hmm.
And then if they have to refund, that means they have a lot of students to refund. So my first year, I literally one whole semester was paid for no value.
Hmm.
£5,080 was paid for no
For
value.
nothing. You didn't
And
learn
then
anything.
yes, so fast forward back to my second year when I saw that, oh, this was going to happen, and with the exchange rates, increase and all of that, so that would double.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I spoke to other classmates and I'm like, we Nigerian students, we need to do something. We need to let the university know that this is our reality, and if there's some way they can support us or make it
Yeah.
easier, or some kind of help. Um, I wrote this email. I sent it, copied those of the students that were interested. Some students just backed off, and they didn't want to be part of it. Maybe they felt that if they participate in
It will cause them
university
trouble.
or whatever. I don't know, which was fine. As long as
Hmm.
they didn't consent, that was okay. So those that consented and were interested, so we sent this email and they reached out and said, "Oh, we're gonna have to get back to you and let you know about the plan of support." So we are really excited, not like very hopeful, but we're expecting even with something, even if it's something. We
Yeah.
spoke about our experience of paying for a whole semester and no support
Getting
and things like
nothing.
getting nothing, and no one
Hmm.
supported us, not even emotional support or nothing. So it took them almost 2 years. So
Wow.
nobody university said they want to support you, and it took them a very long time to respond. So you will think that they were trying to do
They
something
were
very
doing
tangible.
something. Hmm.
But guess what? They got back to us and sent told us that, oh, we can get food bank. We can access these kinds of food banks for food. We can,
Wow.
yes, we can apply for hardship fund. So
Mm-hmm.
my university provide hardship fund, which is like 1,000. They say it's £1,500, but they still let you know that this money is not for tuition. So it's more
Yeah.
like for rent or basics, but they don't even give it to you. Not everything. If I apply and you not even get access to it.
I think
And
some people even apply and they get gift cards.
so in summary, um the support in quotes was
Hmm.
we need to just there's actually fund. You could try other organizations, which of course I personally I did explore outside university supports, like, oh, are they NGOs, are they
Mm-hmm.
even loan or even some bursaries or whatever. There's none. This is also for those listening, there is none. So don't come with the expectation of what happens in the US or Canada, where students can access some kind of financial relief through
Yeah.
different avenues. There's zero to none here in the UK. So and then about the situation of my own country that we explained to them, they cared less.
Hmm.
They said if we find that we will not continue to support ourselves, that we can defer, which would
Wow.
be which there's terms and conditions to it as well.
Yeah.
Or
So a break in
yeah,
study, basically.
yes. And you also, when you defer, you're not staying back. You're
Yeah,
not
you are
staying
going
back.
home and then you
You have
apply for new visa to come back,
Yes, with the possibility of not even, you know, getting it,
getting the visa.
or even your admission might not even they might not they might decide not to let you continue education anymore, even if you decide to come back at some point. And I don't know how long after you decide you have to return, or you lose out completely.
Hmm.
And we're like, okay, that's fine, we'll continue to push. And then there was, the possibility of the economic situation of Nigeria would improve, and it's getting a lot better. And for me, my dad then lost his job around
Hmm.
that time, just before my second year. So the financial strength also from support from my family then got
Then.
affected. Yes.
Hmm.
And then my uncle also is work and business. For my uncle and my my parents are the ones that have been very supportive of my education from the beginning up
Yeah.
until now. So it's just as if the devil was just working overtime. Everything was
Mm-hmm.
happening at the same time, and I'm like, okay, um the holiday, August, September, before school resumption in October, I worked as much as I could. I would go for my first shift 5:30 a.m. I have to be there at 5:30 a.m. I would return 8:30, literally, eat and start preparing to leave the house. I would travel over 1 hour. So in the UK, when you're traveling 1 hour, there's no traffic. So you can
Hmm.
imagine how far that distance
That
of
that's
traveling
the
is.
distance is.
Yes, so I would travel that far to do shifts, and where because of the area, I would have to still walk like 20, 30 minutes after getting off this bus, because there's no bus to get that way, to go that
Hmm.
way, yeah. So I'll walk this distance, and luckily it was kind of summery, but it was still chill. I will
Hmm.
walk down there, and then I would start my care shift. So now this shift, you're standing throughout. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
8, 7, how many hours that shift is for. I will stand throughout, bending, lifting, doing all sorts to support these people
Yeah.
that I work for. And then I would return again, same long distance of walking. And because of the time I was doing that shift, I would have to wait almost 45 minutes for the next bus,
Hmm.
and then journey back. So I'll get home 11 p.m., sometimes almost midnight. And I have to go for my next shift again by 5:30 a.m. So I have to be up before 5 o'clock to go again.
Wow.
And so I had to do what I had to do. I was very fortunate that I didn't fall sick. I'll just have
Mm-hmm.
body pain, but I just had strength, because I know, oh yes. And I had to move out from my uni accommodation, so I was also signing deposit for a house, rent for a
Yeah.
new place, and also I needed to raise as much as I could to also give school some kind of.
Education.
Yes, for at that moment, because my family couldn't do anything at that time. Because, like I
Hmm.
said, the money that we're planning, that okay, I'll use for my first, I've added it, and then some other, like that job was affected. Those back home, I have siblings, they have to pay their tuition and things for them also.
Yeah.
So, so I was able to work, yes, because I got a lot of person that, oh, you didn't do
Were
anything. What
you
have you been
working?
doing since?
Hmm.
What are you doing since? So I really, that period when I had the opportunity and I had a job to do, I worked very well. But before then, my agency had a job. I had to get shifts for 2 months. I
Hmm.
I I would get maybe one shift every now and then. It was crazy. So
Wow.
so for anyone that would say, oh, what was I doing? Yes, I was applying, but is it that they needed me to drive? They needed me to work more hours, which I
Yeah.
couldn't, because it's against my,
The
your
immigration
visa,
rules.
immigration laws for the students.
Hmm.
And that time, that was when, money, like I said, we had, they asked to like start changing naira for me to support myself with my, feeding and other things,
Yeah.
and support myself with transport, just different things basically.
Like you, I sent an email to my university and I was like, this is the situation. It's not like I don't want to pay, it's because I do not have. So, can you guys give me something like an option that I could, you know, think of to do? And then this finance lady, she responds, she's like, oh, I'm going to go speak with my senior colleague. Meanwhile, this was in like September, October, if I'm not mistaken. It was at the beginning of my final year. Every academic year starts in September, I believe. I think it's the same for you as well, isn't it?
No, mine is October.
Or mine
Yes.
starts in September. So at the beginning of first semester of my final year now, that was September 2023, I sent an email. I was like, I'm not able to pay for final year just yet. I can't re-enroll if I don't pay 50% of my tuition. What can I do? This lady told me we'll get back to you. Do you know when they got back to me from September?
Mm.
They got back to me January 2024.
Oh, wow.
And that was because in December, before I went for my Christmas break, I sent a follow-up email and I was like, I've sent email for the past few months now and I haven't gotten a response. Can you get back to me? Because I'm still in the same situation. My ID card does not work. I'm at the threat of all my assessments not being marked. That's going to be such a waste of time, resources, and energy. Because the way course work, we even with a struggle in this country. So
Yeah.
they got back to me in January. And even before they got back to me, I had started my GoFundMe campaign. Hi there, it's me again. And I am making a quick pause right now to thank you for listening to this episode of the Real Japa Experience. I encourage you to please keep listening and learning. Also, subscribe to our Linktree to stay connected and get notification of updates and latest developments about the podcast. On the next part of this episode, Lola and I would go into our GoFundMe journey, which are different and yet connected. Stay tuned with us. See you on the other part. Before I talk about my own GoFundMe story, I wanted to ask you, so what inspired you to do a GoFundMe? I get that your university did not offer any kind of help. You searched everywhere. We both did. We searched everywhere for another option. There was no other option. But how did you get inspired to start a GoFundMe campaign?
Okay. In reality, it was something that I was just joking about last year. Like this way this thing is going. When the whole exchange rate was going, I was like, the way this thing is going. I used to tell my friend that if people would say that I would, just start a fundraising, and we'll just laugh about it. Like it wasn't
You
something
know what?
it
It
was
was
a joke.
exactly the same for me as well. It was a joke in like November. I told my friend, I said, she's my housemate as well. We were literally in my room. I was like, as this thing is going, we'll start GoFundMe. Oh. And we just laughed. Ha ha ha. Very
Yeah,
funny. GoFundMe.
yeah, very funny. It's cute. It wasn't something that I was looking forward to. No, no, of course
Hey,
not. For those that have seen our campaign and would always like wonder, oh, why are they doing this? Or they're just trying to find the easy way out. Trust me, it's not cute.
it's
It's not
not.
sweet. It's not something we
It's
look
not at
forward
all.
to. First day, I wanted to make my first post. I did that video more
Hmm.
than 20 times.
Hmm.
There was some times I got very emotional, cry.
You
I would have
cry.
cracked voice. I couldn't talk loud because I was really scared that, I'm in my house. What if my classmates are hearing me? Because I have to be loud.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I was so scared, like, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? What if people say this and it goes the wrong way? I
Yeah.
was scared. So the moment for me was when, the first semester year of my second year,
Mm-hmm.
I reached out to school. I said, okay, can I get the payments plan? They accepted, which was fair. And this was because of, that first email, like I said, I sent to them about, can you make adjustment, help us? So they also offered payments plan, which was one of the things I forgot to to say. So
Mm-hmm.
when they offered this, it helped a lot of my classmates, even those of them that were initially like,
Scared
it wasn't their
to approach.
business. So it
Mm.
was this, this movement I made that, and the school said we can ask for payment plan. So usually with a payment plan, you have to show that you provide proof of how you're going to, meet up with the payment plan. Well, but for those of us that had already reached out to school and the university, the income was aware of our situation, they told us
Mm-hmm.
that we can. So we just use the email that you guys already confirmed that we can use this. So we didn't need to go through all those process
The
anymore,
process,
which
yeah.
really helped. Yeah, which really helped a lot of students. So I also opted for it, hoping that it was going to be easier that way. So I think I was supposed to pay 2,300 every month.
Mm-hmm.
And the first month I was only able to beat up to 1,800.
Hmm.
So that one eight, I tried to make it more than, make it to complete the money. I
Yeah.
couldn't. And that was in November. So I only paid that. The university reached out and said, "Oh, you didn't complete it." I said, "Yes, but I'm going to try." So my hope was December, holiday, Christmas break. I was going to get shifts. I was going to work as like I did in August, September. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, I think I got just 1 or 2 shifts. That
Hmm.
was it. It was a waste. And January, so December, I did not meet up again with my payment plan. And I remember I'm still owing 500 from November. So
Yeah.
when the school sent the email in January, it was on the 5th or 7th of January, and I received this email. This was a different email from what they usually would send for when I
Hmm.
used to owe.
It
They
was
would
the
send you
serious one.
reminder. There was a date, and there was bold. It was boldly written withdrawal. You've
Hmm.
never sent this, so I knew that this was
Was
serious.
serious.
So today is 7th or 5th, and I have to pay this money by 12 or I get withdrawn.
Hmm.
So I'm like, okay, it's income office. But no, not just income office, students directory or one other team, that is in charge of international recruitment and students. They also sent me another email to
Wow.
my university email and personal email. So in case I say I did not see it,
You cannot deny. They
they,
sent it to the two.
they need to make sure, yeah, that I saw it. So I'm like, okay. So now at that time I was meant to pay 5,000, is it 5,300 or 5,100? Like, I'm forgetting these figures right now.
Hmm.
But I'm calculating this money, and then exchange rate was like 2,000 plus already. Oh, was it
Yeah.
2,000 yet? No, it wasn't 2,000 yet. It was still like 1,000 at that time.
One
But I
thousand
think
six hundred or so.
1,618 thereabouts. So when I calculated this money, I'm like 5,000 double and extra with the exchange rate.
Mm-hmm. Going to be like
And that's like
15
10,
million.
yeah, 10, 15 million. Am I supposed to, how am I going to call them and tell them, please, in 5 days, I need you to go get this money from where?
Hmm.
So I had to call my uncle and I said, school has sent this email and I just need you to send me 4 million naira because I felt that was something that was realistic.
That was realistic, yeah.
Please say, I need 4 million naira. I still need to pay, I need to be
Even
more,
that
but
one
please.
step at that point in Nigeria would have been so difficult.
Of course. So this man, that's my uncle, is a very kind person. Like if he had this money or it was easy, he would have done it.
Yeah,
It's
of
the one that
course.
will tell me sometimes like don't call your parents, don't worry. Like he has been very, very supportive.
Hmm.
So I kept praying. And that same day on the 12th, that was when he was able to get £4,000. So the 4 million naira, sorry, to send to
Yeah.
me. And then I was able to get someone to loan me 1,000. So before that, I reached out to the university. I said, see, I know I'm owing 5,000 plus for, but if I have 3,000 or 3,500, like, would you accept this? So I don't pay it and then I still get withdrawn anyway. Let me know
Yeah, so you were negotiating.
yes, I was negotiating if I would use this money to go back home or pay,
I
So
hear
when
it. I hear it.
so when I asked, they said, okay, they said yes, that if I'm able to pay 3,000 on that date, that they were going to remove me from the list. So when I got this money and, this other money came in, I put everything together and, but then it was already weekend, right?
Yeah.
But I know, okay, on Monday, because on the swap
They'll
was on the
see it.
Friday. On Monday, I will go to school or I'll pay I know on Monday I'll give them their money. You see that way. So I was able to pay that and I then realized that, see, I'm still on my first semester. I've not even paid this money complete yet. So what happens next? How do I pay the next money? How do I complete this one? I know how hard it was for him to even get this 4 million. Like he couldn't sell the land. Someone had to give him this money last minute, right? So he still have that money to pay back to that
To pay
person.
back.
So
Hmm.
I call him the next 2, 3 weeks or thereabouts to go find another money. Where would he get it from? And at that time, I'm
Hmm.
calculating what is left. I'm calculating over 30 million naira. Where would they get this money from? Because initially, if it was from A, I'm going to be saying, okay, I'm owing between 5 to 10, 12, 15. That's at most, yeah. But that
Yeah.
will be spread throughout the year. Do you understand?
Throughout the
So,
year, yeah.
but now I need to get at least 10 million every 2, 3 months to pay
Hmm.
to the university, which was not realistic. And I said, okay, this was it. I was going to try. So I saw this, I think it was on Twitter. Some other girl was posted about that fundraising, and someone sent it somewhere. I just saw it. I'm like, okay, I've been thinking about this, but maybe this is the confirmation
The
I
way.
need to actually go through it. And I went to a link. I kind of like traced that to Twitter. I found that link. So I saw what she wrote and how, everything was going. I was like, okay, let me give this a shot. At that time, she was like, I think she had only raised like 2,000 pounds. And I'm like, oh, this girl has been on this campaign for a while. She's only been able to raise 2,000. Maybe if I even try, maybe I was like, I was thinking to
Hmm.
myself, like, probably I'll get 1,000, but at
It
least
will
there's
do.
something. It's
Hey.
something. Like, any money is very important right now. I might not even get. I was like, okay, let me just try it. So I
Try.
posted, and then the night before I posted it, and this lady reached out to me on TikTok. She's like, "Oh, I know what you're going through. That she's not on the student visa, or she understand what I'm going through. If I need anyone to talk to, that she would send me. She sent me £100, but she said, "Oh, don't post about very big one."
Mm-hmm.
She I follow her now, but she doesn't. If she gets to listen, she doesn't know what she did to me that night because I
Hey.
cried. I cried really hard. Like someone is able to give me £100. She doesn't even know me.
£100.
That was how I felt. Like I felt so loved, and I was like, okay,
Say,
God, thank you. And I went
say
to
you
sleep.
it was £100. I remember mine. For me, first semester had already ended in December. My second semester started January. My second semester is going to end in May this year. Do you get? That's when
Mhm.
I'll finish my degree, but graduation is in July. Now I have to pay. How much is my tuition? I have to pay £14,000 by May. It was January 2nd. I said, okay, Christmas is over, holiday is over. Joanna, sit down and think. I said, you know what? That Monday, I just woke up, I was like, I called my mom. I said, Mommy, I'm going to start a GoFundMe campaign. The whole world is going to see it. What do you think? She said, it's a good idea. Go ahead and do it. Tuesday morning, early in the morning, before I posted, Lola, if I tell you my hands were shaking,
Me
I
too.
was I was crying. I was like, my God, how far is this? Is so embarrassing. Guys, do you know what it means? It's not go for me. It's not cute, like Lola said earlier. It's not cute at all. You are begging. You are begging people and you're telling them, I'm at your mercy. Help
Why?
me.
Why does your self-esteem to
Literally.
everything like you're like you're vulnerable to that
Exactly.
point.
That's the word. That's the word. You're vulnerable to people. There was a week, I think it was a week after I started the GoFundMe campaign. I'd raised about, I think, £2,000 or even less. And my school had a Teams meeting with me. And then they were like, oh, we've seen your student record. We've seen that you're a good student. We're trying to help you. Yada, yada, yada. These are the options. Is either you pay your 50% deposit and then you get an employment plan, or you go on a break in study. That break in study broke me. I cried. That week was the week, thankfully, that it happened on a Monday, and they told me to send an answer by Friday. If not, they're going to put me on a break in study. They're going to send my details to the home office. And
Office.
I'm telling you guys, once you get to home office, there's no going back. You are
Yeah.
gone. Once your name enter home office, just already start packing your things. You are going back home to Nigeria. And coming back, it's not as smooth as they make it sound, because they're like, oh, we give you a cast letter on your way so that when you're coming back, it's going to be easy. We're going to support you. In my head, I was like, you people say this word now. When the time comes, do you know how much even visa would cost me? Where's the money? Everything is expensive. I didn't even have money for flight ticket. What am I even talking about? Flight ticket is far. I don't even have a suitcase.
because I moved to the UK with one traveling bag. I can't pack my things inside. So I already started telling my friend, "Oh, you take this one, you take that one." That was how bad it was.
The week like my withdrawal, yeah, when I first got my first withdrawal email, my room is a bit small, so I keep my suitcase downstairs under the
Yeah.
stairs. Like there's a storage there. I went downstairs, I brought all my boxes upstairs, and I emptied my wardrobe with the anger. That was how for I don't even know my old copy. I just opened my wardrobe with the hangers and everything. I was just
And
dumping
put
it in my
everything there.
wardrobe. In my box, I was just putting everything. I'm like, let me go. I'm going home. That this was it. This is enough. Like, there's no point. I don't know.
No, no,
I was like,
seriously. It,
and then after
it was
I cried, I put the whole thing, I packed as much as I could, and then I sat down. I'm like, no, I would rather die trying than feeling like this. Like
yeah, it's true.
I thought about my family. I thought about the impact it have on my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back and then I'll stay in the house with her. How every day she would be like, you know,
Yeah.
how it's going to be for my siblings. I was going to because I will not be fine. I know that deep down I would not be okay.
I was told I couldn't go to class anymore. I had to call my project supervisor to say, "Oh, I'm withdrawing my project. I can't come to school. I can't go to classes." I was just at home. I was going crazy in silence. Again, speaking to the audiences, we're going to be talking about mental health in a subsequent episode. And I really hope you guys stay with us with this podcast to hear different perspectives, because these things, they actually make impact. It had a great impact on my faith. I thank God for people's prayers.
My friends really held it down for me. Like shout out to my friends, like my friends back in Nigeria. Like if I start naming calling names, yeah, I might even forget someone's name, so I don't even
It's
start calling
true.
them. Like you
It's
all,
true.
if you listen to this, I love you all so much. Like these people held it down for me. Like they
Hmm.
didn't have the financial capacity, but
But it
they
helped.
they helped in so many. They helped in so many ways that I cannot understand. I owe them
It's
so
true.
much. And even
Yeah.
my classmates that here, how we every day we are all in the same situation where we just try to tell ourselves that everything
It's,
will be fine. I try to
we'll be
hold down
fine.
together. I started my fundraising. I did not tell my family.
Hmm.
I didn't tell them. I posted and the two was going. I was like, okay, let me see how far it's going to go. And then I would then go back and tell them this is a testimony, not more. I want to do this because I know they will start asking, oh, what if the embarrassment, or what
Hmm.
if, or that shelf. I
Yeah.
don't post it, hey, don't post it so that they don't send you back home. Or what if I don't want any form of dogs. I don't want anybody to convince me not to. So
Got to do it. Yeah.
yes, but I guess where they'll be coming from here because
Mm-hmm.
I moved with my own faith and my own confidence that
Safe.
I
Yeah.
just have to do this, and it's
And
not
it's
for
true.
anybody but for them.
Not everybody has that kind of faith and the mental capacity it takes to do this GoFundMe. Speaking of that, Lola, how much do you have to reach your fundraising goal?
Um, I still owe the university about 8.5,
Okay,
but
so
on my fundraising it's showing 7,000 plus because yes, I have 1,000 in cash. I'm not sent to the university yet, so more like I
okay.
still need about 7,000 in donation.
So that's it, people. You hear Lola, she needs about £7,000 left to reach her target. When are you finishing? You're finishing in, if I'm not mistaken, June, right?
Yes, June.
June.
Sure.
So please, people, let's not give up on Lola. We still have time. We still have time. We can do it if we put ourselves together instead of being bad people. I'm calling the Nigerians that are making negative comments. You can be a better person. This is the opportunity to repent
It didn't.
and
It does.
help someone.
Yeah, it doesn't take anything to just be kind, even if it's words. Like
Literally,
you know,
literally.
just that little encouragement. It's not always
Mm-hmm.
about the money. That's small prayer. That's
It goes a long way.
it goes
Yes,
a
it goes
very
a
long
long
way.
way. Even if it's by sharing, you say, "Oh, sorry, I don't have, but I'll share on my story. Maybe somebody that I have will see." Share, please, guys. Let's be kind to each other. You are saying other people's story, but it could be you. It could be you in the situation that we found ourselves. And for those that are planning to come to the UK to study, this podcast is for you guys. Please, guys, learn. Learn from our experiences, learn from our stories, look at things that you can avoid and make plans to avoid them appropriately. Lola, what do you have to say to those that, are planning to japa to the UK as students? How
I
would you
would
advise them on things to do?
okay, I would advise that they don't come to the UK, really, except you can afford it fully. There are other
It's
countries
true.
that you
I
can opt
agree.
for. There are other places you can opt for. There are European countries. Everything at Ed Island too is really more, it's cheaper and it
Mm-hmm.
gets lots of discount scholarship. I don't know, you have to look into it. Finland, other places. Or
Sha, do your
if you can
research.
do a course that offer full scholarship, yeah, there are some courses here in the UK. Some universities offer a full scholarship. Yes, go for it. But another thing I looked
Mm-hmm.
in when I looked into this scholarship, it's for certain course, and I'm thinking after you finish with this course, what is the possibility of getting a sponsorship or getting a job with
Mm-hmm.
this, this course? But if you can, move it, you can come here, develop with other skills, while also studying this course, and then use those training or courses or skills that you acquire while studying to get jobs. So it's
Yeah.
different things. But I would tell you, if you really look at it like right now, you know what's going on in Nigeria. If you don't have
Mm-hmm.
everything and you cannot afford it, please stay back home. Or better
Yeah.
still, use that time to get as much job experience as you can and apply to come and work in the UK. I won't say no, don't come to the UK. No, like you can come here and work if you say work visa, 100%. Genuine work visa,
Yeah.
not those visas that you pay and then you come and you don't get jobs. No, like genuine sponsorship, right? That the companies invite you, that will sponsor you to come and work for them.
Mm-hmm.
Please do that. If you have the way to afford it, please do that. If you can at least pay 75% of your tuition before coming, then of course I would say you can come. But if you
Yeah.
have, the initial deposit of £2,000, 3,000, and you're like, oh, I'm going to be able to work,
No, don't do
work,
that.
and I'm going to, no, sorry, and if you also listen to us and say, oh, they did fundraising, they did GoFundMe, and when I come, I would also do it. I
Ah, my
don't know.
friend.
Everyone's grace is different. You might do it, and trust me, you might actually make all the money. At the same time, you might also do it,
Yeah.
and you might not still make anything or raise anything. So just
Mm-hmm.
weigh your options. And also for those that want to also come, make sure you have your accommodation ready. The people here are not ready to house you. They are
Yes, so
not.
don't think of that aunties. Don't think of one auntie or one uncle will take you in. No, please.
Plan yourself.
Don't depend on it. I'm telling you guys now. Don't depend on it.
Plan as much as you can if you have to. And
Yeah.
yeah, but anyway, it was nice being on this. I think we said a
Yes.
lot, really.
A lot. Yeah. Yeah. So this is it, guys. Thank you so much, Lola, for joining me today. It was such a beautiful conversation about the financial issues that we face as Nigerians in the UK. We're Nigerian students in the UK. And I truly hope that our listeners would be able to learn from our experiences, that these stories of ours will be beneficial to you.
Mhm.
And I'm going to put Lola's GoFundMe link in the details of this podcast episode here. I'm going to tag her on Instagram as well. So make sure you're following the Real Japa Experience on Instagram. And as always, thank you for listening. This is the Real Japa Experience. See you on the next episode.
Bye, guys. See you soon.
Bye.
Thank you for staying with me and Lola on our conversation on today's episode. It was such a wonderful conversation. Today, Lola shared her experience of studying in the UK and the financial difficulties she faced. She talked about the challenges of fluctuating exchange rates and the difficulties of accessing funds through from a system which the Central Bank of Nigeria provides Nigerian students who are studying abroad. Lola also talked about the lack of support from the university and the limited options for financial help that the universities in the UK provide for international students. And despite all of these challenges, it's so amazing to see that Lola remained determined to continue her education. Also, in this conversation, I also share the challenges that I faced as a Nigerian student in the UK. Lola and I talked about how we turned to crowdfunding platforms like GoFundMe to raise the funds for our education. We both also emphasized on the importance of support from friends, family, and the community during these difficult times. And lastly, we advised prospective Nigerian students on alternative countries that they could go to for studying, and also emphasizing the need for planning and financial preparation. I hope this episode would be of help to you, if not now, in the future. Make sure you share this with someone who is planning to move abroad soon as a student. Thank you. Hello once again. Really and truly, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to today's episode up until the end, because this is the end of the episode. Thank you so much for staying tuned up until this moment. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did enjoy the episode, please leave a review or a comment wherever you're listening, and share this episode with your friends. If there's something you would like to be changed or something you would like me to improve on today's episode, please do kindly include that as well. I am open to all kinds of feedback. Also, do not hesitate to leave me a voice message on SpeakPipe by clicking the link on our link tree. Please do stay engaged on our social medias at the Real Japa Experience, and I'll see you on the next episode next week, where we'll be talking about mental health. Come back again next week to learn more about this guest and her experience with mental health as an international student. And that's it from me today. Once again, thank you for listening. Don't forget to leave your review and your feedback. See you next week. Bye.